You're listening to Cattywampus.
E. I never misfiled anything, not one time.
H.
So Brian has this movie, Mandy, from Panos Cosmatos, starring Nicolas Cage.
Is it a movie? It's more like a lifestyle choice at this point.
It is. Brian's a Mennonite.
A Mennonite?
He's a Mennonite.
Good Lord.
Brian's a Christian scientist. He
is
believe
man
in
at
blood,
arms.
He doesn't believe in blood transfusion.
This man is Manny Faces.
He's a Dick Tracy villain.
Yes.
We decided we need to watch all these Nicolas Cage movies. You've been down this road with us for what feels
If
like...
you're listening to this, you've been down this road.
Yeah, there's no way you started here.
If you started... Oh, you may have started
Given
here.
this movie, you might have.
If this is your favorite movie, you may have listened to this.
If you are one of the 44 people on this earth that has seen this film...
Oh, more than 44 people have seen this film. Now, not at the time.
Well, yeah, okay.
48 people, Steve.
Yeah.
So the movie is Vampire's Kiss. If you've ever seen a meme of Nick Cage, there's a good shot that it's from this movie.
You don't say.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's the meme.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think the video clip of him listing the alphabets made its way around once or twice in the world. Vampire's Kiss is from 1988, and it is 1989. Sorry,
this movie came out right before I was born.
Do you think they you reincarnated into both this movie and yourself? You're split now that you've seen it. You're whole again.
I do feel a little different now that you mention it. Actually, the sun is starting to burn a little.
Yeah. You better stand in it.
Do you have any sunglasses I could borrow?
I have many. Yeah. Not as cool as Nick Cage's.
Yeah. Do you have any fake teeth he can borrow?
So basically, this movie's American Psycho before American Psycho, even the book. Except Nicolas Cage believes, erroneously, he is slowly turning into a vampire. And it's about his deterioration into madness, his abuse of his secretary, and him imagining a vampire played by Jennifer Beals, who comes to him nightly to continue his change.
To feed on him.
Turns out might actually be a real person. But
was a real person.
Not a vampire. Maybe.
Yeah, she wasn't a vampire. My best guess at this point from what the film told us is that he did meet her one night, may have even slept with her, then she just up and vanished.
I'm thinking...
And he
she acknowledged him at the disco. She was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me wants to think that it was the first time that he couldn't pick up a girl, and it fucking destroyed his ego, and when he got home, he just lost his shit.
Could be. This is valid.
Because when in the morning he like goes to get her fucking coffee and there's no one there, and he has his little shake attack and drops coffee all over his bed.
Right, because before we even see this whole thing with the vampire, he tries to pick up. It's her, right? Like at a coffee shop or something with a bunch of.
It was at a bar with people he worked with.
It's totally that's totally the same woman, right?
It's yeah,
like we see them. Like he hits on her, moves over to her booth. They start talking, cut, and now they're in bed.
Where she promptly bites his neck.
Revealing vampire fans.
Right, which couldn't have actually happened.
Right.
Because he's not really a vampire. He just thinks he is.
And she's not a vampire either. And
at least
we don't think so.
At least we think he thinks he is.
We know he thinks he is. Also, he sees a psychiatrist.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
No, definitely.
Until the end.
Definitely at least twice a week.
Yeah. He definitely sees a psychiatrist, although I don't know if she's a very good psychiatrist because...
I mean,
clearly not.
He thought he turned into a vampire and got himself killed, so she could have done better. I mean, that's for sure.
She definitely
It was the late 80s. There were medications available at this time.
You got to see the signs before people can fully convert. I don't know. I've never really thought about becoming a vampire, but... I feel like I would probably talk to somebody.
You have not thought about becoming a vampire?
Maybe in high school.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Who hasn't? Come on.
That was a lifetime ago, though.
How many lifetimes ago?
I don't want to talk about it. I can't give myself away like that.
Are you one of those Twilight kids who just keeps going to high school? You have a wall of caps.
He did keep going to high school, but now the cops won't let him back.
You just got to keep moving so you don't get that problem.
Wait, are you a vampire or a sex offender?
Yes.
Are they not the same?
I mean, yeah, they are pretty much the same. As this movie illustrates. So the movie starts. Nicolas Cage is a literary agent. He needs to find a contract.
Yeah, so he's got this client that's not even really stressed about this contract. Like, yeah, take your time with this. No rush. Get this contract over whenever you find it. I'm having a vacation, whatever. And he just has to go and harass his secretary into
You
finding
can't
this.
find this missing contract.
And
This
he's
was
screaming
misfiled.
at her and chasing her for. I don't really understand why he chases her so often so
Alva.
early.
There you are. That was probably one of my favorite parts of that whole movie.
When he jumped up
Jump on the
desk.
desk and point.
There you are.
I liked it when he was starting to like walk like a robot after her. He's like, no.
Yeah, she finally finds this contract so much later, and he's like, "Nope, I don't want it now."
This leads to a famous scene with a psychiatrist when Nicolas Cage proclaims loudly that he's never misfiled anything. Not one time, not ever. How hard is it? It's alphabetical. And then goes on to recite the entire alphabet while gesticulating, basically. You've probably seen this clip.
If you haven't, I suggest it.
I've heard you guys say it 1,000 times, but I've never actually seen it.
I have seen it many times. I was not aware that the file was essentially the crux of the film. And
It
kind
really
of,
is kind of the MacGuffin for this
Yeah.
whole movie.
Until it isn't.
I really enjoy
Yeah.
the end of the ABCs where he starts doing the hands on the hips.
Hands on the
And
hips,
like he starts just like
Yeah.
moving his
Oh,
hands
yeah.
around.
Like the
all
5-year-old trying to look hard poses.
I've never misfiled anything.
not one time, not ever.
That movie's
So-
actually really good at showing like his mental.
Oh, you believe he's breaking down. I will say this. It is a convincing performance of a person
I mean,
breaking down.
I'd say he was broken down the entire movie.
That's true.
Yeah,
wouldn't say
but
that it
the
was a person
deterioration
breaking
gets
down.
so much worse.
I guess it's supposed to be a satire of like yuppie culture.
Yeah.
But unlike American Psycho, the tone is not consistent in this film, and you don't really. It's a very obtuse film.
His
with
accent absolutely kills me.
he's trying to do a yuppie accent, but he comes off like a surfer
He sounds like Bill and Ted
together.
together at the
Like
same
they had a
time.
child, and it was
and they're
Nicolas Cage and
trying,
Vampire's
and they're
Kiss.
trying to talk intelligently.
Till or bed.
That's his worst accent, next to the Alabama man.
Oh
accent.
no, Alabama
Con Air-
man's his worst
Con Air
accent.
is his worst accent.
Put
This
the
is at
bunny
least.
back.
I
in
will
the
say this.
box.
This is consistent. Like it.
Yeah, he did it.
It's
Yeah,
it's
boy,
a
he did it.
choice.
He
And
sure did.
supposedly the idea is, as we did some extra reading, that the character is putting on the accent, not the actor.
Right.
The idea is that the character wants to sound more elite and therefore is trying this voice.
Some deep acting.
This is never
right there.
illustrated in the film.
It'd be nice if when he was by himself, he sounded normal,
Mm-hmm.
and if when he was around people, he had a different.
Yeah, that would
It
that would
actually
illustrate
felt
it.
like sometimes he did.
I wouldn't say that.
I don't have any evidence of this, but this strikes me as a movie that it easily was 3 hours in the first cut and got trimmed down to a tight 100 minutes or whatever it was.
It could have been shorter. It dragged. I think the
It did
beginning-
drag a
I
little.
think the
It did
beginning
drag.
dragged
It
pretty
does
hard.
drag a little, but once at a certain point, it just starts going, and then it really starts going even faster. When he gets the fangs, the movie takes a
Oh,
turn.
yeah.
He buys some. He finally breaks down and decides, "I must become a creature of the night." He takes some plastic fangs and he goes into a club, stalks around like Nosferatu, murders a woman with these plastic fangs. Oh, I'm sorry. This
No,
is
he
af-
takes the plastic fangs out
I'm sorry.
because he can't pierce her neck with them.
This is after, because spoiler alert, she finds the file, his secretary, and he tries to rape her and then bite her, and then he can't. He doesn't realize her gun has blanks, which is a confusing MacGuffin of a setup, but whatever, and shoots himself, and it doesn't kill him because it's blank, and he's like, my God, I am a vampire.
I cannot die. I am immortal.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Nicolas Cage runs around the city in a dazed stupor, finds a stake, and then the brother of the secretary murders him with the stake, and that's the movie.
Well, it kind of, because like he goes up to like beat the crap out of him with a tire iron.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
he's
yeah.
Like, no, and he puts like the stake up to his own heart, but he can't press on it. He keeps trying to do this. He keeps trying to stake
He's
himself,
like
and
begging
he can't.
people to kill him.
Yeah.
And then like,
please.
this other guy's just like, okay, let me just put some weight on it, and you're dead.
Sharp stake.
I mean, it was basically a fence post.
Yeah.
And he's just like slaps it a little bit, and it's in. Like,
Yeah. This
that
also,
doesn't work.
This also follows a scene in which he hallucinates his final psychiatric appointment, which really makes me question how real the psychiatrist was the whole time.
Well, the reason I believe the psychiatrist is real because they showed her on the phone with him And while she was on the phone with him, they showed another person, assuming, guess her husband or something.
No,
there
that was
with
definitely
her.
a hookup.
Well,
Yeah,
whatever.
But then Jennifer Beals shows up in a scene that's not real with a boyfriend that's not real. But then it turns out they are real in the same scene later, but they weren't real to begin with.
The only difference I'd say is that the psychiatrist,
Unless it was implied that he noticed them as he was walking in when he was Nosferatu skulking around,
the psychiatrist,
which is just as
acted
likely as anything
very
else.
different when he was having his own.
Yeah.
Like, she was very different. She's like, hey, by the way, you don't need a psychiatrist anymore. And actually, I found your soulmate. Here, check her out. And
Yes.
he's like, sorry, I raped a girl. I just needed to let you know. And she's
believe
like,
she
it's
goes,
fine.
"Drop-
It's cool.
drop
I
in the
murdered a
bucket."
girl too. Nah, you're good. What if the cops show up? I got the cops. You're good. Go have a happy life with this chick I just hooked you up with.
And then by the time you see him again with this invisible girlfriend, I guess he's already like screaming and yelling at her.
I thought that was a great joke. That he has an invisible girlfriend that we can't see or hear, and they get into a fight that we don't witness, and he breaks up with her.
In like 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like the perfect
He
girl
can't
for
make
him.
it last.
And no.
I thought that was pretty good.
Even your invisible friends reject you.
So I guess this movie was made as a dark comedy or a black comedy.
One
or
assumes,
whatever.
yes.
Well, that's what it says it is on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't. If I went into a movie theater and had never heard about this, I would not see this as a comedy. I don't know.
I
what,
disagree. There are several funny.
I don't know what I would see this as.
Nah, this is a black comedy.
You guys were laughing.
It's-
Dude, you're gonna tell me right now
It's the
that scene.
blackest of black comedies.
You telling me the scene where he didn't run around chasing a pigeon so that he could take it home and fucking eat it wasn't
That was
hilarious.
great.
him buying the. Oh, I want these vampire fangs. Oh, those are too expensive. Okay, I'll take the $4 ones. Like, yeah, that was
take the
freaking
price.
And when
hilarious.
he's running through the streets of New York going, I'm a vampire!
I'm a vampire.
Like it's a black comedy, but then there's like horrific scenes of like rape and suicide attempts
So
that
kind of
are
a-
not funny.
so
Like
it's
on any
rape,
level.
murder,
so it's a black
suicide.
comedy in the same vein as like Heathers, like where Heathers.
Kinda, but even
Yeah.
that's tongue in cheek. That
Yeah.
that has a consistent tone. Whereas this is like, yeah, but like, what if it was real? And you're like, what do you mean? What if it was real?
I almost felt like that we kind of were supposed to think he might have actually been turning into a vampire, but I don't know if this is the director.
Like they're trying
or
to
what.
toe the line.
Yeah, because like at first it's definitely set up as, oh, this could definitely be a feasible thing, and that would have been interesting.
Like in the
to
logic
watch.
of the movie, yeah, he really is turning into a
But
vampire.
really quickly,
At
like
what
the
point-
morning after he fucks the vampire, like as soon as we see this, I'm like, oh, cool. We
Yeah,
can see
she's
this-
not real. Yeah,
It's like
that's-
clearly like he just spills coffee all over his bed, giving her coffee. I'm
to
like,
no one. Yet another invisible person.
it's like, oh, this is like the first time we see that like he's actually like imagining things. He's losing it, and after that, there's no doubt like he's just losing his mind, which is fine. I still think it would have been
It's
a
fine
little
if you
more.
lose your mind.
Yeah, it feels like it should have towed the line more for longer in the movie. I don't know. It's not a good movie, but I enjoyed the hell out of watching it.
Well, it's not a good movie to me in the same way that The Room's not a
Good movie. Yeah.
Like
it's-
like I was telling you as we were watching it, I was really surprised that this hadn't achieved more of a cult status.
I
I think it has. You just haven't met the people that love it.
yeah.
Dude, I've never met anybody that's seen it.
I think its lack of streaming is definitely a big
Yeah.
hurt. Like I had to buy a Blu-ray that it came on with another movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it came with high spirits, man. So
I
it's
know. Yeah, thanks Scream Factory.
fine.
Can't wait to watch that.
So you couldn't even buy the movie; you had to buy a 2-pack of movies.
Yeah. It was the same price as one movie, and it's on the same disc.
You can't argue with that, but I still think it's funny that you couldn't get just like the movie.
I mean, yeah, I could not get the movie.
I just remember like all the Walmart like
I
4
think I
movies
could
on
get-
one DVD.
Yeah,
thing they'd
it's
sell.
like that. I think I could get a DVD, but it was secondhand, and people were selling them at a premium. And I'm like, well, just buy this Blu-ray that's restored. I'll be honest. This is the most fun I've had watching any of these movies on the Road to Mandy.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Brian just is.
No, I mean, I
I'm
don't
thinking
know.
like out of all the Cage movies, I really liked that Elijah Wood and Nicolas Cage
This
movie.
is
Yeah.
so much better
It's-
than that.
yeah, I know.
Oh no, this is way better. But
that-
I think, that one was
More coherent.
that
Well,
was
yeah, but
that
not
one was,
good, but not in a good way. It's
Yeah.
just, you're right. It's more of a boring heist movie.
well, that
I
one
love-
was
I
that
love
one
the
was
dynamic between the two
a
of them.
more tone apparent dark comedy.
Even then, though, that movie really falls apart as a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, I caught myself earlier, was it yesterday? I was eating, I bought a new coffee that someone recommended to me. And I was like, this is new. Oh, your friend recommended this to me. So I'm going to try this blend. And I drank it and I was like, very different. Meets my approval.
Yeah.
Without even thinking I did it. And I was like, what is that? Oh, no.
Philly
Oh
cheesesteak.
God, it's found its way in my vernacular.
Meets my approval. I get it. You're scared because you're not prepared, but I am prepared.
Unlock the safe.
No, there's good stuff in that movie, but I think Vampire's Kiss is like all the good stuff that is in that movie. Vampire's Kiss is kind of like nothing but that stuff.
I would cut.
So many cage mannerisms.
Oh my god,
It's
was
like
a cornucopia.
Everything, yeah. I can understand why he said that this was one of his favorite movies to make.
He said this was his favorite movie he's made, which I
And
get it.
Yeah. This movie looks like it was a blast to make.
It looks like it would be the most fun in terms of like being able to do whatever the fuck you want.
You could tell the director was like, not only did the director let him do whatever he wanted, he went, great, let's work towards that. Changing my shots to accommodate this.
Be
We are
more crazy.
Uncaging the cage.
Like, there are camera moves that are prepared for his movements, which means it's not like improv. It's not something Nicolas Cage just did. This director went full bore in, like, absolutely we're laying track for that. Like, get the grips in. We are changing how this movie's gonna be. So, I've been pretty negative on the Road to Mandy, guys,
Have you now?
but I really enjoyed Vampire's
I'm sorry.
Kiss.
You don't say.
I've had to spend a lot of money. I've bought a lot of these movies digitally. I own The Rock now.
Are you
That's
mad
not
about
bad.
it?
Hey, that's not a bad movie.
Yeah, but I don't want to own The Rock.
Why not?
I just don't. I just
You-
don't need
It's
You
a
don't wanna
weird
watch-
thing to have a phobia of.
You don't want
I'm
to
not
watch.
afraid. I just didn't feel like owning it. I didn't
I
feel like
fear
spending
this movie.
$18 on The Rock
Why was it $18?
because it's a fucking Disney release.
Oof. So, what on Apple TV or something?
All of them, all Disney releases are expensive as shit. That's actually why you can't get 4K on Apple TV, because Disney has basically told Apple, if you're gonna sell our movies in 4K, you need to charge $24.99 or $29.99 like Vudu does. And Apple's like, no, we don't want to do that. $19.99 is the limit. And they're like, well, then it won't be. We're not gonna do it.
It's a good thing I don't really
don't
buy
think-
that much Disney stuff.
They just use that rule
Marvel
for
movies.
everything.
Oh, you will.
Even though
Yeah,
they may
Star
have
Wars, Marvel.
I haven't
even
bought
low
any of them.
volume, terrible ROI projects, like they just insist on charging us flat rate for everything.
No, anyway, I don't want to own The Rock. I don't want to spend $18 on The Rock.
Too bad, because now you own it.
Well,
At least somebody.
hindsight's 2020, my friend.
At least you owned
Or
Con Air.
$18.99.
Yeah, I did own it. You know what? I'm not upset about it.
Well, I'm not either.
And
I
for
just
some
I
reason,
didn't
I
want to
own-
spend $18 on it.
For some reason, I own The Abyss.
Yeah,
The Abyss
that's
is good.
worse.
And Sphere.
No,
Wait,
I'm
you
sorry.
mean Sphere? Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
Oh, that's it. The Abyss is great.
First of all, you don't own Sphere because, as you know, by the rules of the podcast, we got rid of it.
I think we did.
By the rules of the
Dude,
podcast.
we tossed it like a frisbee for a while.
Yeah.
It's dead.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't remember, we told everyone we were getting rid of it, and we definitely did that.
You really think somebody would do that? Go on the internet and tell lies?
I'm trying to make it not us. Can y'all help?
Absolutely. Wink.
We never watched any of these movies.
I'm
Thanks,
nodding.
Wikipedia.
That would be a great reveal. Like, I've never seen it.
Guys, as it turns out, we don't even own TVs.
Yeah, I don't know who Nicolas Cage is.
We're just reading these reviews and putting them into a script and just going on for it.
I record all of this into a talk boy that I had left over from when I was a kid.
A talk boy?
You mean a Walkman?
No, I know what he's talking about. Like Home Alone.
Home Alone 2. You remember the
Talk
little
boy?
tape recorder he
I
had?
thought they were just called recorders. Or
Nope.
like
No,
cassette.
it was
No,
a
the
brand.
recorder's that thing you play hot cross buns on.
So is that where the name Game Boy came from?
No,
Game
it's
Boy
unrelated.
predates that.
Gotcha.
It's just a recording. It's just a little.
It was just a goofy little recording device.
You remember Home Alone 2? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
talk boy.
you felt the animal and all that?
Yeah, he had a talk boy.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember.
It was like brand. It was brand integration.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, if we put this into the movie, we can sell a lot of
It was
them.
like
and
the-
they were right.
It was like the Nintendo Power Glove at the end of Wizard.
But they were wrong. They
never
couldn't
seen
sell a
Wizard.
lot of those.
I just pointed on a podcast that doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, guys, look at what I'm pointing at over there. Isn't that thing so interesting?
How about
Theater
I
of
show-
the mind.
I'll just show you a photo on my phone real quick.
Wizard is a movie about it's Fred Savage.
I believe so.
And they're going to like a video game tournament for Mario 3, right?
I think so, yeah.
And the power glove gets introduced at the end of as an Act 3 turn.
He's gonna win because he has a power glove.
Something
Got him.
like that.
Yep.
It's his special.
Well, I know
move.
what's coming up on another cast since he hasn't seen The Wizard.
Wizard seems like a movie that if you had seen when you were a kid, you'd have been, really been into it.
Anyway, Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah. Anyway, Vampire's Kiss.
I was disappointed at the lack of actual vampires, but at the same time,
but you were awarded.
But there was
with
plenty
something
of kissing.
You were awarded with so much more.
there was kissing. All right, consensual and none. There was
Yeah, he literally knocks his secretary out. He physically assaults her. He hits her in the face, bruises half her face, rips her shirt open, and just starts basically licking her chest and neck. And it is just disturbing as it comes. Like there's no
I don't think I've ever seen Nicolas Cage do that, and I just didn't want to.
It was disturbing. Nicolas Cage does things in this movie far worse than his face-off character,
Yeah.
Castor
Yeah.
Troy, for anyone remembering.
yeah.
But there's no peaches.
No, just an actual woman he was licking.
That's true.
Face-off's all
But
innuendo.
it was only for minutes.
Other
Not
than-
hours.
It was only for minutes.
Not hours.
We only had to watch this rape scene for minutes.
Actually, it wasn't even that long. It was probably like less than 10 seconds.
No, you're right. It wasn't like irreversible. Yet
Yeah.
still, it was uncomfortable.
I mean, he knocks her out. He does all that, and then we kind of cut forward, and later on, he's like, "Oh yeah, and I raped her." And then she's at home, and oh yeah, I'm not talking to anyone, but brother, help me. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, hold on." I
Yeah,
know
they
what
didn't
happened."
really like.
Like it's almost to the point where I was like, "Did that actually happen?" Okay, that did happen because that's how little they actually.
Well, it feels like the American Psycho moment where it's like, well, if this is going to happen, you're certainly fired, right? But he never goes back to work anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you can argue that it's not very polished, or is missing bits, or there's just like facepalm moments, but it's still there are clear
The
parallels.
bones are there.
The bones and some muscle tissue are definitely there for a finer creation later. And I appreciate that.
I got to tell you, it's the best experience I've had in this Road to Mandy. It's not good. It's not a good film. That's not the point. We haven't watched a good film on the Road to Mandy.
I don't think Cage can do good films.
He won an Oscar.
Cool.
We didn't watch one.
That's not even that great of a movie, though.
I haven't seen
It's he won an Oscar for his performance.
Yeah.
I'll see it one day.
Which movie?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh.
I mean, I guess like I enjoyed Face Off. I enjoyed The Rock, but this was legit fun. Like this was crazy.
I liked the parts that were crazy, but some of it.
But that is most of the movie.
It is most of it.
Like that is a large part of this movie.
I guess it just didn't do it for me.
I just don't understand you sometimes.
I liked
where you're
it.
like, you know what I liked?
I don't know, man.
I really enjoyed him
Brian-
getting sick from eating the pigeon and getting sick from drinking blood from the woman.
Oh
Like,
my
God.
God.
I thought that was hilarious that he was like so committed that he did it, and then he was like throwing up and he's just like still like, I'm a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you're not.
I have a confession to make.
What's that?
This isn't even a podcast. This is just me trying to understand you. I am recording it so I can review it. I've never posted one of these.
Oh shit, wait a minute. So I've been listening to these podcasts in my head?
Oh yeah, that's not real.
You're not a podcaster. Kind of like he's not a vampire. You're not really a podcaster.
That's true.
Dude,
You're
my
not really a
psychiatrist is
podcaster.
lying to me.
Yes.
Fuck.
That's actually me in a wig.
That's okay. That makes more sense.
Sorry, so it says, "Hello, Brian." Is that what your psychiatrist
Oh,
sounds
shit.
like? I know.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
be
I mean,
leaving now.
look. The truth is, I'm a sick man. I clearly need help. I have been gaslighting you for a year now, and Corey and Steve are,
We're enablers.
yeah, they're just enabling me. Really, I mean, really, they're as culpable.
I mean, I guess the plus side is there's always been free booze sometimes.
That's
So, like,
true. I have plied you with liquor before all of
Yeah.
these things. I am quite manipulative.
All right. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, we're never gonna watch Mandy.
That's fine.
That's kind of the ploy.
As long as I
Actually,
can
we
just,
agreed
like-
on that 9 months ago. We are never watching that movie.
Yeah.
As long as I can just drink, I'm good, I guess.
Maybe you need help.
Yeah.
So anyway, Vampire's Kiss.
I feel like there were a lot of vampire
I
movies
didn't
around that
dislike
time
this
in the
movie.
80s.
Okay, so what's your favorite vampire movie?
The Lost Boys or the Vampire Lestat? Like the Queen of the Damned, the Interview with the Vampire.
You like the movie Queen of the Damned?
Yeah, actually, I kind of do.
I was literally gonna say.
I don't care
bet
if it's a
Corey
guilty
likes Queen of the
pleasure.
Damned.
I don't care if it's a guilty pleasure. It's got corn in it.
And Evanescence.
So
or
that's
something.
my shit. How is that?
I don't care. I liked it. I liked
God
it when I was
damn it.
younger. I liked it when I rewatched it.
So
when I was
to you,
older.
Interview with the Vampire, Neil Jordan's Interview with the Vampire, and Who the Fuck Ever's Queen of the Damned are on the same like level.
Well, they're kind of a set.
No, they're not.
No, the books are a set.
The books are a set.
Yeah.
One is a cynical cash grab.
I don't
Tom
just watch
Cruise
Harry
wouldn't come
Potter
back.
and Chamber of Secrets, and then I watch Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and say, "Yep,
That's not the same thing.
Those are the Harry Potters that are
There
good."
is a 6-year gap, and they're like, "Fuck it, recast everyone."
It feels more like a 15-year gap between those two movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like-
says a lot, but it's 6.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, anyway,
Those are related the way like Manhunter and Silence of the Lambs are related. They're not.
Or Star Trek and Star Trek Discovery.
No.
Are they not completely
Don't speak
different?
about things you don't know. And if
I
you-
don't know anything about
That's
it.
a nice
You shut your
you know what?
mouth.
You know what? I appreciate your shot in the dark, but you
I
missed.
tried.
All right, so Queen of the Damned, Steve.
that was one of 3 that I listed. But you can
Steve's
fix it.
gonna say Blade.
You can fix it.
Blade Trinity all the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, obviously. Honestly, at first I was probably going to say What We Do in the Shadows or...
Underworld.
What about Dracula? Is it 2000 or Dracula 3000?
Dracula 2000. There is a movie called Dracula
Okay,
3000.
That's right.
But I think you're thinking of Dracula 2000 with
Yeah.
Gerald Butler as a Scottish Dracula.
Yeah.
Who turns out to really be Judas. The origin of the vampire is that Dracula was Judas.
Makes about as much sense as anything else.
So the only way to truly kill Dracula is to hang him. Like Judas. They flash back to Christ being crucified in that movie.
Big ambitions.
You know what? Fair. They aimed very high.
I was about to say,
They're like, "We
shoot
got this."
your shot, man.
Your 2 main characters work at a Tower Records, and one of them's the lead singer of Vitamin C, and you have flashbacks to Christ's crucifixion? Oh, you have made an error.
I want off this crazy ride.
Actually,
I'm
can I
tired
change my
of-
vampire answer? I'm going to say the first Underworld movie, only because I'm
called
going to see if I can
Underworld.
piss
I
you off.
called it.
Never has a movie been more made to pander to me, and I have been so uninterested. I remember being in the theater.
Yeah,
for
you know
Underworld.
what? I didn't even think about that. That movie just screams, "Hey, David, this is for you, buddy."
It really did, and I remember seeing it with my friend at the time, and we were goth kids, and we were so excited, and we showed up with friends, and our friends fucking loved it, and me and this girl were sitting there, and we were like laughing by the end, and we just walked out, and we were like, what the fuck? It was the first time in my life I felt pandered to. And I never want to feel that again. I never want to feel like I'm being sold something.
That
the way
was-
I
One
felt
of
that day.
us.
That was
One of
basically
us.
my same experience.
Yeah.
A girl I was dating at
Ugh.
the time, but she loved it, and I was like, I don't know about this. I'm a big goth kid in high school, and I should probably love everything about this, but I hate it all.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it seems like most of the goth kids didn't like it that much. Anyone who wasn't a goth kid was just like,
I think it's a fake.
all right, I'm into leather
It's
now.
a fake goth movie.
Well, this gets to the South Park thing of
Posers.
goth kids versus vampire kids.
Yeah.
Remember the South Park episode
Yeah.
where the goth kids are like, "What the fuck are these vampire kids?" It is a thing. There is a difference,
I'll take your word for it.
but
I mean,
yeah.
I guess goth kids want to die and vampire kids want to live forever.
You know, that is a valid point.
One of them has a blood fetish.
I think one of them likes.
No, I've met plenty of goth kids with blood fetishes.
I think goth kids like the post World War II aesthetic of darkness, and vampire kids like the Edwardian aesthetic of darkness. Goth kids come out of punks, who come out of greasers, who come out of the Hell's Angels, which come out of World War II. Like that's the evolution of the counterculture movements there. Whereas vampires, it goes back to this Edwardian romance with a capital R, kind of romantic era of your Edgar Allan Poe, which is gothy in a way, but that's the kind of like Edwardian style. Your pre-steampunk people who look at steampunk and go, we go further back than that.
I used
The
to
Victoria-
have
we go further back than this generation that never actually existed.
Yeah,
With
called
your
a prequel.
dirigibles and your headphones that run on hot water.
and all your technology that ends in the word scope,
Your technoscope?
technoscope, scope, and drome. They all end in those words.
Quickly to the Scopodrome.
You answer the phone, ahoy hoy, like Mr. Burns. And scream tally ho as you whip your mechanical horse on your buggy.
God damn
I'm
it.
sure it's a wonderful culture.
Fucking Wild Wild West.
I'm sure
As you
Wild
guys
Wild
talk about
West.
this,
I'm
all I
sure
think
Wild
about-
Wild West is to steampunk kids the way Underworld is to goth kids.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
willing to
sure
bet
steampunk kids
100%
watch
on the nose.
Wild Wild West and go, that does not speak for me. Fuck that.
You are correct.
Dear
Yes.
God, no. I would never assume that any Steampunk kid.
I would never assume
loves-
anybody likes Wild Wild West.
I assume their movie loves begin and end with the anime Steam Boy.
Yep,
Yeah.
I was
And
about
that
to
is it.
say.
And there's no other good movies.
There's a lot of good books on it, though.
Yeah.
No movies, which is shocking. I would think at this point we would have a good
They've
steampunk
attempted
movie.
some, but there's never a good one.
Steampunk lends itself better to games, as far as I can tell.
Steampunk lends itself to just being
Did anyone see
completely
that Three
underground,
Musketeers
apparently.
movie that was a steampunk movie?
No.
Are you talking about the one that had Emilia Jovovich in
Yeah,
it?
from her husband, Paul Anderson, yeah.
Well, there's
I'm-
your main reason why I didn't see it.
Was it called
Both of
Sky
them.
Pirates or something?
I don't know why Brian and I didn't see it. We've seen all 6 Resident Evil movies. We might as well watch their other collabs
You mean all of his movies?
in the last
You
20
got
years.
Monster Hunter on the horizon. Bodes well for that film.
Anyway, Vampire's
Road
Kiss.
to Mandy.
I loved it.
Is that
Guys, we're getting close.
I
to
strongly
We're
recommend
getting
it.
close to the end of the road.
Guys, technically speaking, this is the end of the Road to Mandy.
Yep, Mandy's right over there.
Because next time,
staring at us.
Does it have to be?
I
Maybe.
promise you, Brian, this isn't just one of my clever manipulative ruses.
all right? I'll see you guys
All you
there.
Panos Cosmatos heads who've been sticking with us inexplicably, get ready.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Beyond
All
the Black
three of you are going to be real pumped.
I'm a big fan of Beyond the Black Rainbow, and I've been listening to The Road to Mandy.
I've been listening to it for an entire year, and they're finally about to get there. Holy shit, guys, I don't know if I can wait.
Man, we have great fan.
Great fan.
I've been Dave.
I'm Steve.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Brian.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.